Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to JRC's so-called behavioral intervention program. Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit. They did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic refused. You know the drill. Please read the article. Share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please make sure to use the headphones. Trigger warning number 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. So, where we left off. More importantly, these omissions also prevent evaluating whether the use of ESDs caused or contributed to different outcomes. In other words, since we don't know anything, we don't know whether the ESDs are actually contributing to different outcomes or not. We don't know whether the use of ESDs is making it worse or making it better. I think we can all agree it makes it worse. Even the so-called temporary benefit where the behavior stops temporarily is not a good enough of a benefit to continue with torture. All right? Can we just stop? But what if it showed that it really changed things? It's still torture. Abuse is abuse. I don't care if it gives you the child you wanted, because that poor thing has to mask every second of their lives. The poor child does, or not. Okay? There is no record to its effectiveness to do anything other than A, traumatize the kid, and B, stop a behavior temporarily. That is not a good enough benefit to justify this insanity. I would be willing to argue that no so-called great outcome. Because guess what, folks? Some of us turned out all right in spite of the treatment programs forced on us, not because of them. All right? Let's continue. The reasons provided for placement at JRC include not only unsuccessful treatment at previous facilities, but also aging out of previous facilities, rejection by previous facilities, and the inability of the parents to handle behaviors at home. In other words, once again, we're not given enough information regards, but they tried all the other facilities and all the other stuff, and it didn't work, and we promise we won't reject them and we'll fix them with torture. Yeah, that, right? That. Since we have no information in regards to those other facilities and programs, we have no idea what didn't work. We have no idea why it didn't work. We don't have enough information to so much be able to roll out a treatment program. Okay? Information's extremely critical here. This is your child. All right? You can't let bastards like this get away with this sketchy nonsense and throw their talking points. It's like dealing with politics on crack. All right? There can be no double speak in regards to your child's treatment, point blank, period. And you should accept none. If it sounds shady, it's because it is. Too many parents ignore their gut instinct because we've had drilled into our heads that we must always go along with the doctor. Doctors are fallible. Or we wouldn't have medical malpractice lawsuits. All right? You need more information because unknowingly you could be putting them on the same treatment program that they failed at another facility, and then automatically putting them on the human shock collar instead of seeing and having that information so we know what not to do next time. It's kind of important for an individual that's transferring to a new facility that the people getting ready to treat them know very, very specifically what didn't work with the other programs. Okay? Let's continue. For some cases, no reason provided. Dr. Shidman, a psychologist who wrote reports justifying the use of GEDs on JRC residents as part of the state court approval process, testified that in almost every case she recommended that the GED was the most effective, least restrictive treatment. Yet she was not aware whether the JRC tried to use positive interventions or whether positive interventions were effective. But I'm going to go ahead and say, well, obviously, it really is the least restrictive. Are you on crack? Is crack what you smoke, Dr. Karen? Do you smoke crack? Because that's the only way that this makes any form of sense. Least restrictive? It's a human shock collar. Do you know what happens when you fire about 45 MPa through any major muscle on your body? That muscle's going to lock. Imagine you have to walk with that on your backpack, and Susie decided she felt cute and wanted to torture people today. They shock your leg, and that shock brings you to the ground. Usually some twitching afterward. Now tell me, how is that least restrictive? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Okay? Least restrictive, my ass. Restrictive is not just in regards to 4 walls. Okay? You can restrict someone by means of torture. All right? If you shock that much electricity into a single muscle, it's going to seize up. You will fall. If I can't walk, that's a restriction, isn't it? I really need them to stop toting that line, because if they're trying to get me to believe that pumping a kid with electricity just below the lethal limit to specific targeted muscles, and they're going to try to tell me that it's least restrictive and allows them to move around, I got beachfront property in Kansas I can sell you. Because you're that dumb. Your dumb may be terminal. I wonder how you continue to stay alive without somebody standing next to you, reminding you every 3 seconds that you need to breathe. All right. Similarly, Dr. Fox testified that he never saw an individual at JRC for whom an adequate workup had been conducted to establish that a GED was the most effective, least restrictive treatment. In other words, because we don't know so much about all this previous treatment program, we've got no full functional behavioral assessment to go off of. We've had a poor kid who's had his treatment program in a form of Russian roulette. We don't know because the parents were not given the tools to know whether or not this program would be the best for their kid or not. That being said, I will again state this shouldn't even be a debate here. Okay? It should not be a debate. But look, it's effective in all of this, and then it's a temporary benefit, Karen. There is no actual data that proves that it has any lasting, anything that actually helps and will last down the line, right? Because it doesn't, because it can't, because the punishment model in regards to treatment literally never works. Okay? Literally never works. It makes sense, right? If you don't go through the steps properly and you skip one, yeah, it's no wonder the other treatment programs, facilities, or residences didn't work because you don't know what you're doing. And without at least getting more information out of those programs as to why they think that that program is not for their kid or is not going to work for them, you're operating from scratch. The default can't be, well, obviously all those programs I randomly threw my kid into didn't work. Obviously the answer is a human shock collar. Because that's not the answer, people. And it is ridiculous that we are in, as it were, the year of our Lord 2024 still having this conversation is insane. And we're going to go ahead and close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time, so you know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit those comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do. You hope you have a good one. I'll see you again here in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.